It's time to enter the world of real estate with Hawaii's only true real estate show, the Team Lally Real Estate Show. Grab a pen and get ready to take notes. Hawaii's premier real estate leaders, Adrienne Lally and Attilio Leonardi, will bring you the latest in real estate news and real-world strategies on how they can guarantee to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or they'll buy it. Now, here are your hosts, Adrienne and Attilio.
Welcome to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or we'll buy it. If you have any real estate questions, you can reach us at 633-8633. That's 633-8633, or on our website at teamlally.com, and that's Lally.
Hey everybody, this is Attilio. I was up hiking in Haleakala with my wife and kids, and this lady came up to me out of the bushes, started asking me a bunch of tax and legal questions, and I said, hey, those are great questions. Highly recommend that after you get out of the crater that you go seek the appropriate licensed professional. Speaking of licensed professionals, so if it sounds like legal advice, should they run that by?
They should run it by Cain and Herren, the attorneys with heart, right here in Wailuku.
And if it's tax advice, maybe you should just Google it. No, run it past a licensed tax professional. Because today, and only for today, we're going to be realtors. And we're going to talk about real estate.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What was she doing in the bushes?
I don't know.
That must have scared you.
She didn't have enough sunblocks. She was hiding out from the sun, waiting for it to go down.
All right. So the quote of the day here. We have several quotes here on smiling. A smile is happiness that you'll find right under your nose. And that's from Tom Wilson.
I thought that was a mustache.
That could be that too.
Oh, okay.
I was smiling yesterday, I'm smiling today, and I will smile tomorrow, simply because life is too short to cry for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, even though the outside world might be raining, if you keep on smiling, the sun will soon show its face and smile back at you.
Yes.
And then our last one here, which I think you really enjoyed the author's name.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that?
His name is That's Vietnamese for Joey.
Sometimes your joy is the source of your smile, but sometimes your smile can be the source of your joy.
So what you said earlier about walking around with a smile, if it's raining, you're going to drown?
You could be.
You could.
Unless you have like a closed mouth smile.
I think the happiness under your nose is a chocolate milk mustache.
All right.
That's what my 7-year-old Angelo would be smiling about.
Okay, so speaking of smiling, we have some happy legal advice here from
Attorneys with Heart.
The Attorneys with Heart. They keep us smiling. Are you there, David?
Hey, guys.
Hello.
How are you?
Always great.
Doing great. Thanks for calling in.
You sound happy today.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you can hear our smiles in our voices.
Yes. Can you hear my smile? No. So what is our legal tip of the week?
So our legal tip of the week is about a will, or making sure you have a will. We tell all our clients that they're almost universally you want to have some type of estate plan, like a will. Sometimes it gets a little more complex where we need to do a trust, and the difference between the two is a will just gives property. That's all it does. A trust, you can put conditions on it. So, when you want to put conditions on maybe after you die or what happens to the money or something like that, or a piece of property, then we're looking at a trust. And sometimes for tax purposes, that lady that came out of the bushes there wanted some tax advice. Sometimes for tax purposes, we'll also use a trust. But regardless of which one, everybody who has anything should have either a will or a trust.
So David, what are the dangers if you don't have a will or a trust and you own property?
Well, if you don't have anything, then we call it intestate. It's essentially, it means you die without a will or a trust. And when you do that, you naturally you're dead, so you didn't have a right to choose where the property goes anyway. But while you're alive, if you have a will or a trust, you get to decide what happens to your property. If you die intestate, then the government decides, the court decides what happens to your property. And many, many times it's not what you would have wanted. I had a family the other day that came in. They were a second family, and there was no will, and they had to wind up sharing with the husband's first family, and they were really estranged, and the wife, had a really bad divorce in the first family, and it just absolutely would not have been what this person wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He would have wanted to take care of his young children from the second marriage, not his 30-some-year-old relatives on the mainland. And I say relatives because they never even visited him out here anymore. So,
wow.
That's what you're facing. So, in that particular case, the estate had to be split up, kind of definitely not the way he would have wanted it.
Now, it's important to have a valid will. So, I mean, it's on your deathbed, you cannot just start writing it down on toilet paper, right?
Well, no, you can't. But we have done what are called deathbed wills.
Okay.
In Hawaii, as long as you have two witnesses, pretty much what you do it can be a will. Now, we like to have two witnesses and a notary and a drafter who is not interested in any taking of any of the property.
Gotcha.
So, because it makes the will stronger against any defects or will contests.
Mm-hmm. And that's important if you want your will, your desire, or your
decisions.
Your decisions to
Yes.
go forth after you go on.
That's right, guys, exactly. Very important, especially if you have a family, that you get a will. Get this done. You just have to go and get it done. Sometimes we also recommend life insurance for our clients. We don't sell it. We tell you to go, to an agent. We have some recommendations of good people out there, but we say go get some life insurance if you have younger kids and don't have a big estate, because that's what people want to do is take care of their kids, take care of their spouse when they die.
Yeah.
So how long does it take to create this will? Like what would they expect if they came in and visited with you guys to get this done?
It's usually about 2 visits, and what we usually do also is if you have email, we'll work back and forth with you about some of the options and make sure everything is correct and proper. Another thing is, generally speaking, they're not real expensive. It's usually about maybe at the most a will is 2 hours of attorney time, which maybe is around $500 or so. Not very expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds expensive to a lot of people, but it's not when you consider this is a real important thing that you're doing.
Yeah, it can be important because if you have an extensive collection of spam memorabilia, you want to make sure it goes to the family and not ends up on eBay. But maybe the family's just going to put it on eBay anyway. But as far as the wills, joking aside, it's to do with the children, custody. I mean, is it all that stuff, the assets, personal belongings?
It could be, and for minor children, you can name a person that you would like. Now, it's not incumbent on that person that they take care of the kids, but you can go to a person and say, hey, would it be all right if in my will I said I'd like you to take care of my kids? And a lot of people do agree with that, and if that happens, then it lets kind of people, the court, whoever, know what your wishes were.
Gotcha.
So kids, real property, anything of value.
Real property, anything of value, even your
organs,
even your remains. Your,
yeah.
Different state laws govern how remains are looked at. Most of the time, they're considered personal property of the heir. However, some states allow you to plan for your whatever you want, and it's incumbent upon those people to take those wishes into effect, like cremation or burial or something to that nature.
All right. So what? Now it's creating all kind of burning questions. Everybody's procrastinating. They don't do these things. They want a phone number to call. What's a good number?
242-9350.
All right, 242-9350.
And then the website is what, cainandherren.com?
That's correct. CAINANDHERREN.com.
All right.
All right. Well, thanks so much, David, for your legal tip of the week. It was very helpful. And if our listeners want to get a hold of you one more time, what's that number?
242-9350.
All right. Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
Okay, and you guys are doing a great job.
You too. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So now I think it's time for that Maui Mortgage Minute and some other important messages. So don't go too far.
Yes.
Welcome to the Maui Mortgage Minute, brought to you by Ginny Madsen of the Maui Mortgage Team. Online at mauimortgageteam.com.
Aloha! Today's topic is about shopping. If you have recently considered refinancing your mortgage or buying a home, you've probably asked yourself, should I talk to my bank or a mortgage broker? The answer I give is easy. Paradise can be expensive. A bank only offers their own mortgage products. A mortgage broker, on the other hand, shops for your mortgage amongst all the banks, trust companies, and credit unions to find you the best deal. Contact the Maui Mortgage Team today and ask how we can start shopping for your mortgage.
The Maui Mortgage Minute is brought to you by the Maui Mortgage Team, Hawaii's mortgage professionals. Visit mauimortgageteam.com for all of your mortgage needs. Again, that's www.mauimortgageteam.com. NMLS 1078414. Member of Pacific Home Loans.
Now, you may have thought to own a home here on Maui, you must be made of gold.
We are happy to say this is not the case.
Oh yeah, Attilio? Why don't I have to be made of gold to own a home here on Maui?
Well, it's because of the Maui Mortgage Team.
Really? Tell me more. You've got my attention.
Well, Jenny Madsen, host of the acclaimed Maui Mortgage Minute, educates people every day about the ins and outs of home financing.
Check out their website, mauimortgageteam.com, for mortgage calculators, streaming videos, online home buyer guides, secure file transfer technology, and more.
Sounds like the Maui Mortgage Team is the highest tech mortgage group on the island.
Hey, you know that Maui can be expensive. The Maui Mortgage Team love helping people save money and make their dreams of home ownership come true.
There are never any hidden fees or surprises, and they will always advise you on getting the best deal.
Whether you're at the grocery store, getting gas, or booking a trip, you shop around for the best deal. We believe getting a mortgage should be no different.
So check out the MauiMortgageTeam.com or call them at 270-2775.
Hawaii NMLS ID number 10325554.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Hawaii, I would hire Adrienne Lally and Attilio Leonardi. Their marketing strategy is so effective that if your home doesn't sell on terms you agree to, Team Lally will buy it. Partner with the team I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
We recommend Fidelity National Title Insurance Company for your next real estate transaction.
Through its nationwide network of direct operations and agents, Fidelity National Title provides title insurance, underwriting, escrow, and closing services to consumers.
Check them out at fidelitynationaltitle.com or fntic.com.
When you're trying to find the best of the best, don't settle for an agent that's just like the rest. Pick a team that knows just what to do. From buying or selling, we work hard for you. Team Lally, the best real estate in the islands. 227-2703.
Don't feel alone. You know, you can get confused, even frightened when thinking about real estate, and there's a unique proposition out there. It's from Adrienne Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally. What they do is offer a no-obligation guarantee. If they don't do their job, you're free to get out of the contract. But don't worry, you won't want to, because Adrienne and Attilio will sit down with you, establish a price to deadline to sell your home. If that deadline passes and your home isn't sold, they'll buy your home. Check out the success story. A short sale referred to Team Lally by another agent had 3 liens, including a federal tax lien. The owner was a year behind on payments and facing foreclosure. Well, the team negotiated with all the lien holders and got a $25,000 incentive from the first lien. The sellers love these guys, so call the only agents willing to earn your business every single day. Attilio, Leonardi, Adrienne, Lally, and her team. That number is 633-8633. 633-8633. And online at guaranteedsale.com.
Open Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style.
Welcome back, and thanks for listening to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or we'll buy it. I'm Adrienne, and Attilio's here as well, but he's on the phone with our guest, who is Debbie Williams of ADT Consultants. She's an appraisal here in on Maui, and she's going to be discussing with us about appraisals. All right, so we're just waiting for her to call in, and I'm waiting for Attilio to get off the phone with her. And here
What are you doing? Giving a play-by-play?
Yes, I am getting a play-by-play.
All
Play-by-play.
right, so we got Johnny at first base. We got the pinch hitter coming up to bat. He's a southpaw. He likes those curveballs. No.
And we have Debbie Williams calling in here to talk about appraisals here in a few minutes.
Well, she doesn't call in. We'll call her. You know, we always get our man. We're like the FBI. Speaking of appraisals, you know, some important things you need to know about appraisals. I think the most important thing to know is how to spell it.
Mm-hmm.
No. Some of the reasons why you would want an appraisal. You know what most people realize? We'll talk about it from us as the realtors perspective, but that when you list the home for sale
Mm-hmm.
and you put a sign in the front yard
Mm-hmm.
and you start showing the home,
Yes, and marketing the home.
then you get an offer, right? So a lot of people think, hey, we've had clients do this where they say, I just got an offer and we're in escrow. My home is sold.
No, it's not sold.
It's not sold. How come?
Because they still have to do the home inspection, and that's the time for more further negotiations. They still have to have an appraisal done. So the bank who is giving the buyer the financing is going to ensure that the value is there. So between the home inspection and the appraisal, more negotiations could happen, or the buyer could, you know, change their mind.
Speaking of more negotiations, I think Gary should just give Debbie a call.
Yes, I agree.
And patch her in.
So what can happen with the appraisals, and we've seen this happen many times, where the appraisal will come in low. And so it leaves us at another negotiating point, which means the buyer can either come up with a difference.
Well, let's use
Right.
numbers so they have
Real life examples.
real life examples. So let's say you list the home for $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
Offer comes in full price $500,000.
Then the appraisal comes in at $480,000.
$480,000. So you're like, what happens with the Debbie? If you're listening in, I think we're trying to call you, but we're getting a busy signal. So it's like calling in for the journey tickets. All lines are busy. What happens with that $20,000 difference? I think a lot of sellers automatically assume that okay, the buyer's just gonna.
They agreed to it, so I want my money. I want that amount.
Yeah, they opened escrow at a particular purchase price, and irregardless of what happens with the appraisal, we are going to move forward with this transaction at that price point, and the buyer just needs to come up with the money.
But the buyer doesn't always have that money because they have their money set aside for their down payments. So that, like, not everyone has an extra $20,000 laying around.
So let's say they're putting 3% down, so they got $15,000 on a $500,000 loan. So that means their loan amount, if it appraised at $500,000, is going to be $485,000. Now the appraisal comes in at $480,000. They have to come up with.
They have to come up with the difference.
Yeah, they got to come up with the difference. And a lot of times when the buyer goes into the transaction, pretty much the only money that they worked out is the down payment money.
Yeah, well, usually they have the down payment money, and if it's like a fixer-up or they have certain things they want to do.
They have a budget.
Yeah,
they have money set aside for fixing the home up.
Yeah, so it's going to eat into that. So it gets a little tricky when the appraisals don't come in right where they should. Well, not where they should, but where they've agreed to. And then it's another point for negotiations.
All right, so on the appraisals, now back in the day, you'd call in your friendly neighborhood appraiser, kind of like Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the situation we came out of with the huge real estate bubble, that a lot of regulations have changed regarding appraisals.
Yep.
All right, so my understanding is, Debbie, are you there? Debbie, are you there?
Yes,
Hello.
I'm here.
Hi, sorry about that. The lines were all clogged up.
Okay.
People were calling in for the Zeppelin tickets.
Yeah.
But all right, so Debbie, tell us about yourself. You're an appraiser, and how long you been in the business?
I've been in the business for a little over 20 years. I've been appraising in the state of Hawaii since 2002.
2002, okay.
So she saw the whole bubble and the craziness, the crazy times.
Yes, there was huge crazy times, and things. We were so busy we didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And people were waiting weeks and weeks to get appraisals, and values were going so quickly, people knew it couldn't go on like that forever.
Yeah.
So.
What now? You are in the front lines as far as an appraiser with what's going on with the finance industry. We know as realtors that the layers and the regulations with appraisers, your industry. How did that change after the bubble?
Well, as appraisers, we call it scope creep because the scope of work just kept increasing, more detailed information. Lenders wanted to know about any prior transactions. Previously, they didn't pay that much attention to it. Now they were looking for people who were flipping properties, or properties that may have been sold in the same condominium complex that were being sold by the same person. So they put little safeguards in there that would red flag any kind of maybe deceptive practices or things like that.
So Debbie, when someone is flipping a property and that comes to their attention, what typically happens? How does it affect the value?
Well, there generally isn't a huge issue unless you can justify the reason for it. If someone bought a distressed property and then they fixed it up and they sold it, I mean, that's a legitimate kind of a thing. But they're sort of looking for straw buyers, or they're looking for the same names that come up over and over and over.
Yeah.
Because it's not typical for one person or one entity to flip multiple properties, around the same time frame. So they just began scrutinizing those kinds of things a lot more.
Yeah. Now I know with the banks, they don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but they don't communicate with you directly when ordering an appraisal. They go through a third party?
Yes, they go through an appraisal management company. And some loan officers and lenders are under the false impression that they're not allowed to talk to us, which isn't true.
Yeah.
They are allowed to talk to us. They're just not supposed to discuss values or pressure appraisers for certain values. But there's no issue with talking to us.
Yeah.
So, it's all checks and balances. It's all trying to protect the consumer. Bottom line. So.
And keeping you as neutral as possible. And
so if additional information on a property is available, like you guys are allowed to take that information if it wasn't like just...
Exactly. Something that we may not be aware of, something with the contract that we might not be aware of, some other condition. There are a lot of different issues that could come up.
Yeah.
There could be, after inspection, we may have seen an issue with mold or an issue with something else that we want to bring to someone's attention. I mean, we're open to discuss all those things.
Yeah.
It's just we're not supposed to discuss value. But, of course, those things could affect the value.
Yes.
And that's why we're discussing them. But, we don't want any predetermined values going on.
So they not like they know you like Krispy Kreme donuts, so they bring you a big, fresh batch of dozen or any of that stuff, or it's more about just helping you out with, because I've seen your guys' reports. There's just a ton of information. There's a lot of work.
Yes, there's a lot of data in there. And in the old days, there was some of that kind of schmoozing going on. I mean, appraisers don't typically have little. They don't go to lunch together and they don't communicate with one another like
Yes.
realtors do. You know, realtors kind of maybe hang out together. Appraisers are pretty much loners.
Gotcha.
But the various different, lenders would come in to try to, I guess, I don't know. I don't know if they're just being nice and bringing you treats or what they're doing.
Yeah.
But a lot of that has gone away.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
So
everything
no
is
more
sold.
free lunch.
No, and it's actually, it has a downside in that you kind of have lost that personal connection.
Yeah.
It's become pretty impersonal, which is kind of a shame in some respect, because at least you had a camaraderie, or you knew that certain people would understand when you have an issue. And now sometimes it's just so random. You don't know who you're talking to or what their background is, or what level of understanding they may or may not have of the appraisal process even.
Well, I can say that the Maui mortgage team thinks very highly of you. I'm not sure how much work that you've done for them or for their clients, but when we needed an appraisal done on a very difficult property out in Hana,
Yes.
that you were the one that they came back with. So
Yes.
Yeah, so we want to talk to you more about how we cross paths. A lot of times with clients, if they have an unusual property, you can
guess.
You
or
can guess.
Try and calculate. Just
in us realtors, we're not gonna. There's no way we're even gonna. We're gonna spend a lot of time and effort coming up with a comparable market analysis. But if any realtor is telling you that it's in any way anywhere close to what an appraisal is, they're not being honest, because it's a lot. I've looked at your reports. There's
so much detail.
We used to have REO accounts, and we'd fill out a BPO report, and that wasn't even as much stuff as you guys had. And
that was painful.
We hated filling that stuff out.
It does become more important when you have an atypical property, because I always tell people, here we have a few simple cookie cutter condominium complexes that, okay, anybody can go in and look at those comparables and say, okay, a 2-bedroom condo goes for between $250 and $275.
Yeah.
But when you get into an atypical property, there is no cookie cutter. There is no other house or property that's going to be like the one you have, and it just can be, especially in the Hana area, extremely complex.
Yeah.
There's just way too many variables.
Yeah, exactly. Too many variables that you can't just in your head go, okay, I think I'm going to be, within a $25,000 range. There's no way. You could be hundreds of thousands of dollars off.
Yeah.
So it's better to, pay for that appraisal, that upfront appraisal report, and make that investment into
and I
the
actually
process.
have done, that's another thing I think you were asking me earlier about the change in the climate and in the market. I'm doing a lot more of appraisals before properties are being listed.
Yeah.
I think that's smart as a consumer.
Yeah, I mean, we got a call from a client. She's got a bed and breakfast and a lavender farm. I mean, it's a huge, and a botanical garden. And I'm like, I don't know how's a realtor going to price that.
There's a business involved, and then the acreage, right?
Yeah.
And there's just so many variables.
And now with we say the appraisal process, part of it can be subjective, but what are the things that you do to minimize the subjectivity when putting your reports together?
Well, for every adjustment that an appraiser makes on a report, they have to be able to prove where they got that adjustment. They can't just make up something out of the air.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is from what they call a matched paired sales analysis. So you do your best to pick two properties that are maybe exactly the same, except one has an ocean view and one doesn't. Then that's where you extract that value for that ocean view.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this one sold for $25,000 more than that one. That view must be worth around $25,000. And we are always taught, at least I was, with every appraisal that you write, imagine that you have to go to court and defend this report. So, yeah, every adjustment, I mean, sure, you get, over years, you get in the habit of kind of knowing these things from memory, what you should be adjusting roughly. But occasionally, you might not have any clue Like I had one recently that had a barn on the property, and it's not like a barn on a farm, but it's basically a huge 4,000 square foot barn.
Yeah.
Well, what's a typical buyer going to pay for a barn?
Yeah.
You don't really know that unless you can find another property that has a barn.
Exactly.
And you can see, kind of extract what that adjustment should be, and that does get hard sometimes. And sometimes there is no certainty on those types of items because a barn is not living area. It's like, well, some person might want a barn, another person might say, I don't care about a barn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that gets kind of tough sometimes.
So, Debbie, we need to take a very short break.
Well, we got some more questions
We have,
for you.
we have lots more questions.
Oh, you have more questions?
We
Yeah.
do. So if you could hang tight.
I'll be here.
We'll
All
come back.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah.
We went to them to sell our townhome there in Eva Beach. Didn't have any idea of what it was worth, what their asking price would be. Adrienne and Attilio came over, walked through the house, talked to us, and set the price. It was considerably higher than what I'd even imagined. They were very professional. They gave us ideas of how to make the house look better for the open houses and the video, and it sold fairly quick. I was surprised.
Oh, I got excellent results each time I worked with Team Lally. I worked with a price who actually was a buyer the first time and a seller the second time, and both times I had stellar service. All of my questions were answered, and I never had a day where I could not contact them. They're always available. The best service I've ever encountered in the real estate world. I was in a situation where I was moving back to the mainland, and it was about 30 days before I needed to leave, and I called Adrienne and said, can you sell my place? She said yes, and she got it done before I left.
I got more than I expected. They set the price very correctly. They set it higher than I expected, and we got offers over the asking. It was surprising to me. They knew the market that well. They had excellent marketing. For example, they had a typical open house. On a Sunday afternoon, you'll have probably 5 groups of people come through, but their marketing was so excellent. For example, taking a video of the place instead of just still pictures. That we had over 20 groups of people. We had only one open house. It was one Sunday. We had over 20 groups of people, and we had about 5 offers. And the lowest offer was asking price. All of them were over. In fact, we had an offer over asking price even before the first showing. When they came and viewed the property, they gave us the suggestions to what we need to do to make the house more marketable. And so just by following their advice, it worked. We had one showing, and it was all that was necessary. We had a number of offers, and we had to drop one offer to go to the second one. So having those multiple offers was a benefit.
They actually listen to you and care about your needs. They actually knew what we wanted and what we needed, and if we said this is what's going on with us, like they knew with our military status what was going on, and they were like, okay, well, this is what we're going to do. So they didn't give us heartache about the situation. They completely understand the military and what's going on with our lives. They looked out for our best interest. When we first went there, I mean, they weren't like, oh, we're going to make a buck and try and get you to market your house and sell it. They actually referred us to somebody to help rent our house out. And we talked to that lady extensively first before we even made our decision to market our house for sale. So, I mean, they're not there to just put your house on the market so they can make the money. They're actually there to help you make the right decisions for you.
Honestly, these days everyone's always trying to shove a house down your throat or, try to get you into something that you don't really want, especially car dealers and mostly realtors as well, because they're out trying to make money. But with Team Lally, it was a different experience because she and Attilio understood what me and my husband were looking to do and which house we were interested in, and they didn't try to pressure us to look at anything else. They were just understanding, and they said, okay, if this is the house that you want, then we'll wait it out and see what happens. So we got the house that we wanted. So they're very professional, very knowledgeable, very respectful, and just a delight to work with. Once I met them, they're really great people, so I liked them right away.
after I spoke with them, I was very comfortable. I would say that Team Lally is more professional. Also, they are more thorough. They provide more than just, their services are excellent. They'll provide you with other service. They keep you updated, let you know what's going on. I was never lost as far as knowing what went on, but every step of the way they kept in touch and let me know what's going on.
Welcome back, and thanks for listening to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or We'll Buy It. I'm Adrienne.
And I'm Attilio.
And today we're talking about appraisals. We have, Debbie Williams with ATD Consultants.
Correct.
Is her company, and we were just, we were talking about, specifics of what you need to do.
Well, hey, Debbie, are you super swamped with business, or you're willing to give a number out if somebody wants to call?
Well, sure. My number is 573
Mm-hmm.
6764.
Yep. And it's if there's a homeowner out there, a realtor wants to get an upfront appraisal.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we call it.
Which, of course, is different than when you're doing an appraisal for a lender.
Yeah.
Because when I'm doing it directly for a client up front, it's for a different purpose. It's for marketing the property. So you're going to give them a lot more detailed information than you would. A lender doesn't care about certain things. They have what they need to know, and a seller, has what they need to know. So you're just going to gear it for whoever your client is.
I think, too, the sellers and buyers need to realize if the buyer's coming in with financing, they're still going to order an appraisal. They're not
correct. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's still going to occur. But we were talking about the
Hana property.
Well, we had some questions for
Yes.
you. What were the questions we came up with during the break? It was like, you guys are a regulated industry.
Yes.
And so tell us, how does that work? You have to be licensed.
You have to be licensed. There are different levels of licensure. There's state licensed appraiser, which is the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a certified residential appraiser, which is the next higher level. But then there's a certified general appraiser, which can do commercial properties.
Mm-hmm.
I have the second one, certified residential property, which means you can do properties with a loan amount over $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a state licensed appraiser, the loan amount cannot exceed $1 million.
Cannot exceed $1 million.
So it's a different level of licensure. It requires a minimum of 2 years of training, which is in essence like being an apprentice to another appraiser.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to compile your logbooks and your journals of everything you've done and submit it to the state. And then once they review that, they allow you to take their exam,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have your license.
Gotcha.
But then getting work is another story.
Yeah.
Because then you may have to submit work to various clients, and now you have to submit work to various appraisal management companies in order to be on their approved list in order to receive work.
Gotcha.
So with Debbie, with the appraisals, we were discussing earlier that sometimes it's kind of difficult to find those comparables.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have you ever had to go out, to a different island, or do you typically stay within the neighborhood? How does that work as far as the distance from the subject property?
Yeah. I have not gone to another island, but I pretty much stick to Maui.
Mm-hmm.
I know that commercial appraisers go to other islands all the time because it's just necessary for them. And I am sure that if you're appraising a property on, for instance, the island of Lanai, if you're in a higher end price range, you may have to go to another island.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be very limited in your comparables. And even in Hana, when you have such a tiny community
Mm-hmm.
and relatively little turnover, you just have to do what you have to do, which means you go further and further away until you find something.
Yeah.
And they understand, most people understand that. Of course, the best comparables are the ones that are the closest, but that's not always possible.
Now, we know there's a geographical distance. Obviously you want to find properties as close to, comparable to the property in the closest distance, but chronologically, how far back do you go to look at comps?
Well, lenders do not like us to go back more than 90 days.
Oh, wow.
Possible.
Yeah.
6 months is completely acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
But anything over 6 months, you have to have a really good explanation why your comparable is over 6 months.
Yeah.
And using the HANA example again, you maybe only get a half a dozen sales per year in HANA. So that's your reason right there. I had to go back further in time because I only had a handful of sales to choose from. So we had to exceed that recommended guideline of a year and go back. Maybe I've gone back as far as, 14, 15 months. If it's something that is a really good, comparable.
Now, what I liked that you did with that HANA appraisal was that you came in with your value, but then you had given some feedback to our client on how he could bring the value up, some different things that needed to be done with the property and what kind of value you would assess it after those were completed. So that was super helpful.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that was helpful because that is my intention when I'm doing a private appraisal. He needs to know how an appraiser is going to view his property.
Yes.
And how a lender is going to view it, which is sometimes different than how a buyer is going to perceive it or even the realtor is going to perceive it.
Yeah.
It's just another set of eyes from a different perspective. Like you were saying, we have certain guidelines, and I like to sometimes point those out to people just so they know what matters on an appraisal, what contributes to value, what doesn't contribute to value, what might be considered a detriment, so that they can avoid that.
Yeah.
Because you would hate to have it come down to having your buyer there, having the deposit there, the contract there, and then something come up that, boy, you wish you would have taken care of before, or that you had known about. And it might be something that you just, appraisers know and other people don't know.
And I don't know if you would be aware of this, but do you find the lenders being so conservative that they're ordering more than one appraisal?
They will do that, especially if it's a high value or a high loan amount.
Okay.
They may require more than one appraisal. That's usually the only time they do that.
Now, we know going back is a timeline you want to look at, but I've had clients call us up and say, well, when I did my refi, I have an appraisal. And we go, when did you do your refi? Oh, in 2005.
Yes.
So if we take a look at that year, that was pretty much the tippy top, 2005, 2006 of values.
Exactly.
And literally, after they got their refi done, the value of their home started going down.
Yeah.
How, so I guess that's for an appeal to educate the listeners that the appraisal not only needs to have a wide depth of and width of information, but it needs to be current.
Exactly. Appraisals are very time sensitive. They literally, the value is for the day that you were out to the property. And once that appraisal becomes 6 months old, it's old.
Yeah.
It doesn't even considered current anymore.
Yeah.
And I always know when I go out to someone's home and they have an appraisal that they want to show me.
Yeah.
There's a good reason, because they liked that value that they got on that last appraisal. And like you said, it might have been from 2007 or something at the peak of the market.
Yeah.
It's like, well, a lot of things have changed since 2007.
I think when they pull it out of the old cigar box and they blow the dust off of it, so indicator, lead indicator there might be old.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Debbie, thanks so much for being on the show. We want to give our listeners your phone number again. Do you have a website, or is it just the phone number?
I do have a website.
Okay.
It's www.atdconsultants.com.
And ATD is like alpha, it's A as in alpha T, or what does ATD stand for, instead of me making it up?
It actually stands for attention to detail.
Attention to detail.
I love that.
That would be a good thing to have in an
for
appraisal.
Yes.
I'd like details.
So ATD.
A as in apple, T as in Tom, D as in David.
Consultants.com. Check her out.
The number is 808-573-6764.
And if you have a hard time focusing as an appraiser, it would be ADDH consultants.com. But no, she can focus. She's in the details. It's ATD, attention to detail, consultants.com.
All right. Thanks so much, Debbie. Appreciate all your help and joining us today on the show.
And we'll have you on again.
Yes.
All right, my pleasure.
All right. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
All right. We're going to take a short break and have a tip from the Maui Mortgage Minute and some other important messages. So don't go too far.
Welcome to the Maui Mortgage Minute, brought to you by Ginny Madsen of the Maui Mortgage Team. Online at mauimortgageteam.com.
Most of us got our first bank account when we were 8 years old. And as a loyal customer, we assume they will give us the best deal when we need a mortgage. But when it comes to getting a mortgage, don't go to your bank. Did you know that your bank only offers a small selection of their own mortgage products, and there's often a better deal available somewhere else? At the Maui Mortgage Team, we are different. We go shopping for your mortgage amongst many banks. We get them competing for your business, so you get the best deal. So remember, don't go to your bank. Finding the right home and mortgage is significant to your financial success and happiness. We can help.
Visit mauimortgageteam.com for all of your mortgage needs. Again, that's www.mauimortgageteam.com.
NMLS 1078414. Member of Pacific Home Loans.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Hawaii, I would hire Adrienne Lally and Attilio Leonardi. Their marketing strategy is so effective that if your home doesn't sell on terms you agreed to, Team Lally will buy it. Partner with the team I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
When you're trying to find the best of the best, don't settle for an agent that's just like the rest. Pick a team that knows just what to do. From buying or selling, we work hard for you. Team Lally, the best real estate in the islands. 227-2703.
Let me ask you something. Do you get confused, even frightened when thinking about real estate? Well, here's a unique proposition for you. It's from Adrienne Lally and Attilio Leonardi of Team Lally. What they do is offer a no-obligation guarantee. If they don't do their job, you're free to get out of the contract. But don't worry, you won't want to, because Adrienne and Attilio will sit down with you, establish a price and deadline to sell your home. If that deadline passes and your home isn't sold, they'll buy your home. Check out this success story. A past client of Team Lally got a new mainland job opportunity and called the team again. The team took the challenge, took photos and a video on Saturday, went live on Monday. They got a full price the same day. How's this happen? Well, the photos and video tour convinced the buyers that this was the home for which they had been waiting for. So call the only agents that are willing to earn your business every single day. Attilio Leonardi, Adrienne Lally, and her team. That phone number is 633-8633. 633-8633. You can also find them online at guaranteedsale.com.
Welcome back. This is Adrienne.
And this is Attilio.
And you're listening to the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the Guaranteed Sold program, or we'll buy it. If you have any real estate questions, you can call us at 633-8633 or on the web at teamlally.com.
Hey, Adrienne, did you know we have a new commercial?
You mean the one with Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank?
That's the one. So tell our listeners how we met Barbara.
Well, we were in Dallas a few months ago, and Barbara came out to speak at an event that we were at.
Really?
And by the way, she only takes a handful of speaking events every year, and she was actually already booked for the year. But she agreed to take one more, which was the one that we happened to be at.
And you know what was cool is we got an invite to a special meeting prior to the main speaking event and got a chance to chat with her privately. This lady's awesome.
So that meeting sparked a new partnership, which led to her endorsing us during the Shark Tank show.
So hey everybody, watch for Barbara talking about us during one of the breaks.
All right, so a little bit about Barbara.
Barbara has ponied up her own money and invested in 22 businesses.
She's got a new book, Shark Tales, which takes you behind the scenes of her life and business and Shark Tank.
Well, we checked her out, and this is how she is described: brash, blunt. I would say we would describe her this way too: bold, courageous, and a brilliant, I like this one, she's a brilliant identifier of opportunity and talent.
We've met her personally, and she's a take it or leave it lady, a kind of here I am person.
Hey, so check out our Facebook fan page, Team Lally Hawaii, to find out why Barbara Corcoran from Shark Tank loves Team Lally.
All right. So
speaking of Shark Tank, do we have our Maui Sada on the street? Brandon?
Brandon Force.
Brandon Force.
I'm here.
All right. So we want to talk about our, was it up and coming?
Our coming soon listings.
Coming soon listings.
And our new ones. Let's go over those first.
Yeah. What do we got coming down the pipe?
Probably the newest one to add to the list is, of course, it's up in North Kihei.
Mm-hmm.
It's Nanikai Hale, and that one's a 1-bedroom and 2 baths, which is kind of nice. So if you have anyone over, of course, you have an extra bath. You don't have to zigzag through the bedroom in any way.
Yep.
But nicely updated. From the balcony area, you can actually see the ocean, which is nice. And literally, when you're down in the barbecue, it has a nice pool area. And literally, the sand picks right up to the grass. So right where you put your lawn chair in the grassy area, the sand's right there. And, of course, you have that offshore wind.
Yeah.
Perfect for whale season. Of course, this is a short-term vacational
with the proper
condo,
zoning?
So
Yes.
And what's this one listed at, Brandon?
this one's listed at just shy of $315,000.
Yeah, I think it was it year to date or was it an annual report? They were saying the rental income was about $25,000, $24,000.
Correct.
Yeah, awesome income.
All right, and then there was one that we looked at this morning that we're going to help them get ready to come on the market.
We can't tell you what street because the inventory is so tight.
Yes, super tight.
But that one's definitely a nice home. I mean, he's done a very good job of maintaining the outside. It has some older features on the inside, but that just means it's right for the updating. However, whatever buyer sees fit. So,
like a blank palette.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so,
nice, spacious
the inside,
home.
it even has a pool table. I'm not sure if that will come with it or not, but I would make sure.
I think they said they were going to leave it. It's a Brunswick.
Mm-hmm.
Brunswick.
So-
Here's the history. It's the Brunswick from the Hilo bowling alley. I
Yep.
think. Old
It's a professional pool table.
commercial grade.
Yes. So that one is it seems like it's close to 2,000 square feet. It's a huge home, all pretty much one level.
Yeah, big lot, nice level lot. They got a lot of cement paving for tons of parking if you have an extended family or maybe
boats.
just having
You have a
baby's first birthday party
Mhm.
and you need plenty parking. And the garage has a high ceiling.
Yes.
I'm going to
Perfect
say
for
at
your
least
boat.
maybe 15, 20 foot high ceiling so you can put that big fishing boat in there and keep it protected.
And then a full PV system as well. I think they have
$18. I saw the electric bill. Today's electric bill going back 12 months, $18.
Yeah, so this is going to be this one's going to go fast.
Desde ocho is the electric bill.
Yep. All right, so Brandon, one more property real quick before we end the show.
Of course, there's the one coming up in Wailuku Heights. We can't get too much details about that one, but that one, keep in mind, will have I think he said it was just shy of 180 degrees, all the way from upcountry North Shore area, all the way out. You can even see McKenna and Wailea. So
awesome.
On a clear day, just like today, it would be a gorgeous house to have that panoramic view, good weather, and of course, it's a big house too. I think it has just shy of 2,000 square feet.
So if you're wondering what a view is, come check a look at this house and you tell us what you're offering.
Or you can call our hotline here at 633-8633 and get a sneak peek.
Yeah.
Talk to Brandon.
All right.
All right.
Brandon, any deal of the day? You got a couple seconds?
I do. So the deal of the day, sometimes it's not always about the price point. Sometimes it's about being at the table first.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I did today is I went on the hot sheet, and this house hasn't even been on the market a day.
You know what? It's so exciting that you can't tell them today. You got to tell them next week.
That's right.
All right. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks for listening, and thank you to our sponsors.
Denise Kaihu with Hawaii Escrow and Title.
Mike Davies and Jenny Madison of the Maui Mortgage Team.
Eileen Strickland of Fidelity National Title. Attilio. If you want to get a hold of any of our sponsors, just go to teamlally.com and check out our business partner page under our link section.
We also want to give a big thank you to Gary, our producer here in the studio. And make sure to tune in next week. We're going to have an awesome guest talking about something that'll change your life forever.
This is the Team Lally Real Estate Show, home of the guaranteed
Sold program. If we can't sell your home at the agreed upon price and or time frame, we'll have it bought for cash. Thanks and aloha.